Hey guys, my name is Splattercat and welcome to the next episode of our Splattercat's Indie Shorts. Today we're going to be looking at Dwarves. Yes indeed, if you're a fan of the diggy culture, as I am, the rapidly expanding plethora of games, including our fine Scottish bearded friends, then you will like this game, Dwarves, which is a bit of a sim management anthill type strategy puzzle game, which basically sets you against a timer and tries to see how many tunnels you can dig before time runs out or you get your entire culture exterminated. As you might expect, this game takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of attention, which means I am just inherently bad at it. There's not a whole lot that I can do about that, but I do want to show it to you guys. It's made by Tripwire Interactive, who made one of my favorite games of all time, Killing Floor. And so I felt like it deserved a spot on my Indie Shorts series. So without further ado, we're going to check out the arcade mode today. I do want to make you aware that there are different modes. You've got base defense, which I haven't played too much, but it's a basic tower defense type game using the same mechanics. You've got skirmish mode, which I don't really remember from when I played this game last. I believe they actually added that in a recent patch, so I haven't played with it at all, but it's bonus modes with variable rules for the basic skill set. So if you get tired of the arcade mode, which is the standard dungeon, then you can play around with modified rule sets there. So let's go to arcade. We're gonna go with normal mode, easy, normal, hard, and Tedai hardcore. That's right, Tedai, I suppose, is like the dwarvish version of a Jedi, but no clue there. It adjusts the amount that the various upgrades and things like that cost. It also changes the amount of HP and how hard the enemies hit for when you uncover them. I'm going to go with normal because that seems to be more than enough challenge for me most of the time. I'm also going to go with a 15-minute timer, and hopefully we last long enough to make a full episode out of this. So, as you can see here, we've got our procedurally generated world, and there's a couple things you want to be aware of. So anything with a blue ring is a warrior dwarf. Green rings are digger dwarves. The digger dwarves are spawned pretty much procedurally from this central location. So that's part of the challenge, is as the game goes on, you're going to end up with 20, 30 dwarves that are all digging their own tunnels. Now, why is that a problem? Well, when they hit these little black spaces, bad or good things happen. And so sometimes they're filled with lava, sometimes they're filled with gold, sometimes they're filled with monsters, sometimes they're empty, sometimes they're filled with water that floods your tunnels, and so you have to be on the lookout for where your dwarves are going. Now, how do you compete for score in this? Well, if you hold down the S key, it doubles the speed at which everybody moves and works, including enemies. However, the clock goes down at the same speed. You can briefly pause the game with the space key, but it is on a cooldown, and you can only pause the game for a couple seconds at a time. Now, what's going to happen right here? Treasure cave! So we lucked out and got ourselves some treasure. It's going to add it to our gold pile here at the top, which is next to our score. We've got our total amount of warrior dwarves here, which we can train at our central location by clicking there. You can also tell all your warriors to come back to base by clicking on that little bell. And then this right here, I believe in some game modes you can click this off, which means you can halt the production of digger dwarves, but for us it's stuck on. Now, there are other things that we can build. If we press the E key, we can build a guard post, which has a cannon on top. It allows us to build more dwarves that are warriors in separate locations, and then we can shoot them out of the cannon towards our enemies, which puts them into the action as quickly as possible. We can also train dwarves there and help them get more levels. Now, when digger dwarves get levels, they dig faster. That's pretty much all that they do. They get a little bit stronger in combat, I think. And let's make sure this dwarf here isn't going to get into trouble. There it is, and I was ready for it. So, this is what water looks like. He drowned himself and died. Your dwarves are incredibly stupid, and that's part of the challenge of the game. Now, we blocked it with a wall. If you hold down the shift key, it will place a wall. Walls will block water, but they will not block lava. They will only block lava like for a brief amount of time before the lava burns through the wall. In order to get rid of lava, you have to make a trench by using the W key, placing dynamite, and running a dwarf into it. And so I paused the game there for a moment. And let's place our dynamite. So we got the dynamite there, and I'm going to show you how the dynamite works. We can make these little paths just by clicking and dragging, and if the dwarves hit the arrows, they will follow that path to the end. Now, we have to sacrifice a dwarf to detonate that, but we're now safe from the lava. This dwarf's getting himself into trouble, so I'm going to place an arrow path right there so that he doesn't go this direction. I'm also going to tell him to go back that way. I don't really want them excavating this right here. I'm also going to hold down the control key, which allows you to place concrete. The concrete is actually undiggable, and so it will keep dwarves from actually invading that area. I'm actually going to try and seal this off, and as you see here, the lava is burned through that wall and will now fall into the pit that we made with our dynamite. Now your dwarves will dig your walls. So this wall you see here that I built, he will dig through it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to direct them in a different direction with a path right here. These do deteriorate over time. As you see, these ones get scuffed. They get a little beat up. They get a little destroyed. So you do have to replace them from time to time. You can delete them by pressing the Q key and just clicking on them like so. Now, let's speed the game up a tad. I don't want to get too brazen with my speedy boost, but I don't see anybody going towards locations that could be dangerous. Let's get him out of there. We'll get him out of there and make sure that people are going where I want them to. Now, the dwarves' AI is somewhat limited. They do dumb stuff pretty frequently. And what I mean is that their AI is limited by the fact, like, if they see treasure. So, for example, if we had dug down to this silver vein right here and we had a dwarf right next to it, he would dig through this silver vein all the way before he did anything else. So they do have kind of that limited, give me money reflex that so many people seem to have. And he's getting himself into trouble right there. And you can see already, it costs me money every time I lay down one of these arrows. We only get 1 gold for each section that they dig out. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of cash flow at the moment. That was an empty space right there. So we got a bunch of free score from that one. And it looks like he's going to make a beeline like so. So I'm hoping, I always wondered why they called it a beeline, because a beeline is kind of curvy. Like, it does have a straight line involved with it. But, and also if you want to take it with the animal, bees do not fly straight. Bees fly in weird zigzaggy patterns. So in either case, I'm not really sure why they call it a beeline. Maybe it's like an engineering term or something. I have no clue. And we got a perk right here. So perks unlock when you get a certain amount of squares or when you do a certain task. You will get a score boost and a bunch of money given to you. And I'm actually going to seal off this water. Oh, and we released more lava. Now, I don't have enough gold, I don't think, for dynamite, do I? Oh, good, I do. But then I don't have enough money to direct him to the location. So that's going to be a problem. Now, what is this dwarf doing? Hopefully not getting himself into trouble. Let's go back, let's take you down to there, and hopefully we'll have enough gold to direct you down to that dynamite. There we go, and so we've detonated the dynamite. This is now benign, or at least less malignant than it was before. So, how do we get rid of this lava? Well, what you can do with lava is if you encompass lava with those concrete walls that I told you about, you actually get a big score boost. That's a large part of the game, is they actually give you a massive score boost. It's kind of like getting a row in Tetris, where that's one of the goals you want to aspire to, is you definitely want to take care of business down in here. There's a lot of humor in this game that you'll notice. If you look around, the dwarves leave signs everywhere. Oh, we've got enemy minions, so unfortunately we're probably going to lose a couple diggers there because I don't have any warriors yet. We don't even have the money to build ourselves a guard base just yet. Like right here, here's that sign that I was talking about. It says, don't press this button. What does the button do? Nobody knows. It could divide by 0, rip a hole in reality, do all kinds of crazy black hole shit. We have no idea, but the dwarves won't push the button. Luckily, that is a hazard you don't have to worry about. And this dwarf, good. I thought he was going to get himself into trouble there. And so as you can see, oh good, my warrior finally decided to jump into action. However, this little enemy here looks a little bit tougher than expected. He's got like a pauldron, he's got a shoulder pad, but he just leveled up, so maybe he'll be okay. And this little ring, you'll see a ring around everything. That's their actual health. And treasure cave! Good, because we actually needed some gold. We're pretty low on the Skrilla. We don't have the guap that I would prefer. The dwarvish guap. I was getting kind of worried I was going to have to put my dwarves on the corner or otherwise make them do some kind of nastiness in order to get more money. And it doesn't look like they've messed with that wall just yet. As I said, they will try to dig through it. Let's make sure these dwarves don't get into trouble. If one of them makes a cut for the left, we could definitely end up with a problem. Actually, either way, they're going to get in trouble. So let's actually just send them back. And I don't care what they do as long as they get the hell out of this tunnel, because this is not an area that I want them to be in. Especially till we get enough gold to surround that with the walls that we need. Now, is anyone else getting themselves close to trouble? This is as far out as you can zoom, and believe you me, the map extends pretty far. You can see there's gold nodes out as you get further, and the little areas get larger and larger, which means they get much more difficult to isolate. Let's get him out of there. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the dwarves as they work down in here. I'm going to send him down that way till he hits that silver vein, and as you'll see, he'll actually favor this, so he'll actually dig this whole area out before he goes and does anything else, which is good. At least greed works. If no other motivating factor is successful, at least greed works. So what are you doing? I see you tempting yourself with the idea of digging into that lava wall. There is no good that can come from this, dwarf. I'm going to name you Derek the Diggy. And Derek, I'm going to rapidly lose sight of you. This is not racist, but all dwarves look the same. I can't tell you all apart. And what else is going on here? Derek's down here filing an injunction. He's over here with the Civil Liberties Union just causing all kinds of trouble. My union has a problem with that statement. And so we actually got pretty lucky. A lot of the faces that they could be digging into, a lot of the sides of these black areas are actually blocked off by these nice little tunnels. Hopefully this dwarf gets us a nice little grip of cash there. Oh, they struck the lava again. I wasn't paying attention. And see, that's how the game gets you. That is universally how you die in this game. You're just not paying attention. So let me take a dwarf. We're going to take him over to here and then take him down to there. And hopefully he gets there before that. I don't think he's going to make it before that first wall burns out. He should make it before the second does, though. And there we go. So he made it. So what we want to do is, while these guys are working, let's go down here and try and isolate one of these. So let's go like so. We're going to isolate it. And there is kind of a strategy to this isolation. You want to make sure that you don't isolate blocks that you don't have to. So you want to kind of go like that. There we go. And once it's isolated off, you'll see it goes cold. It just turns into this body. We get the reward, 10,000 score, and a little bit of gold. Now, I do wish the gold was multiplied by the squares because, honestly, you always lose gold when you eliminate these threats. But I guess that's just part of the challenge of the game, is learning how to manage your money, something that I am not so good at. In real life, I like to make it rain. I like to take that money and just spend it like crazy. I'm the kind of person that depletes the bank account, then refills it. Just, that's who I am. It's who I am as a person. I don't really take no heed of the future. I could get in a car accident tomorrow, and then what good will it all be? Can't take it with you. And so we're actually getting a fairly impressive tunnel system done here. I'm actually going to make him take a detour right there to get that silver. If you have the opportunity and you see somebody near a large vein, don't bypass the opportunity to allow them to dig that out, because you're going to need the money. Believe you me, you're going to need the cash. A dwarf has entered a treasure cave. Where's that at? Oh, right here. Good, because we did need some extra money to get rid of this second lava cavern right here. I think the way in which I'm going to approach this is going to be, hey, none of that from you, idiot. And so let's go like so. And we're not going to have enough money, I don't think, to block this one off. But we should have enough to get it started. And so there we go. We need one more. So once we get 75 gold up and ready to go, Shazowie, and that's our second one taken care of. So we've trapped yet another one. There's another 150 gold, another 10,000 score for the future. And let's take a look at what the outlying areas are doing. So this guy's actually getting pretty close to gold over here. Although the problem with these long, expansive tunnels, I will say, is that they're very difficult to isolate. So the longer, let's say there was lava in here, the further down this tunnel it goes, the harder it is to isolate. So I may just let him do his thing. Maybe direct him towards that gold over there, but I don't really want him near that because we haven't expanded our central tunnel system out that far yet, or at least the dwarves haven't decided to. I have no control over this whole thing, so whatever they decide to do is usually what happens. I'm really worried that there's going to be water involved with this right here. If there's water in this location, it's going to make me a very, very sad dwarf overlord. I'm going to be just, my beard will be soggy with my own tears. It will be very unfortunate. It will have soggy beard, which then may mold. I mean, once you get that large mass of hair, have you guys ever seen Jack Passion, the American and really the world bearding champion? Like, they're trying to make it into a sport, but no matter how hard they try, I just really can't accept bearding as a sport. Like, it happens on its own. It's not like you have to run a marathon to get your beard to grow. If you did, ooh, there's a little egg right there. Maybe something cute will hatch. Maybe it'll be a kitty egg. Nope, it's a spider egg. There you go. So we've got all kinds of little polyps and spiders showing up out of there. It says right here, it says only for drinking. I don't know if the dwarves were trying to pee down the well, what they were trying to do, but we may actually survive this game, which is more than I expected, given how bad I am at this game. So he's got a little bit of money there. And yeah, let's speed up the process a little bit. So once this dwarf gets that silver out of there, let's start directing these guys towards these other outlying caverns. Now, I don't really take control of my dwarves that often, but I think that cost right there is going to overrule the risk of investment. Now let's build ourselves, before we run out of time here, I did want to talk about the final feature. So here's a guard tower, which is the only structure you can build. But what's so great about this guard tower? Well, once it gets done building, I'll show you. So we can build dwarfs here. It's 100 gold per dwarf. You can train them here. Oh, a dwarf struck water. So let's pause the game. And there we go. And so as you can see, the pause is very brief. Let's isolate that. Let's kind of get rid of that. Water can be very dangerous because it travels incredibly quickly. And so you want to get rid of it as rapidly as possible. So there we go. So the water is kind of safe. He was about to dig through that wall, if you saw. He was about to make a giant stupid move. So luckily we avoided that path. Now, what else is going on? We've got monsters running rampant here. I don't really care at this point. The monsters don't really level up. Occasionally you will find bosses. And the other thing, that's the thing, you'll notice a precariously placed, a somewhat threatening looking cannon on top of this. We can launch our dwarves around. So let's hit the bell here, the dinner bell, to make them all come home. And you can see that they come back. And he's released enemy minions down here. And this is a perfect chance to try out our cannon. So once they're all home, we'll take our cannon. You see we can shoot them out to here. Now, it's somewhat of an inexact science. Dwarvish rocketry does not do so well. But you can see that it launched them straight into the fray so that we can actually get rid of our foes. And there they go. They rolled over. So there's one of the different armor sets that they get. They actually become cooler looking the higher level they get. They get like cooler weapons. They get awesome shoulder pads and kind of World of Warcraft-esque gear. Just something to look forward to if you're into that sort of thing. You guys know me. I love aesthetics. So, oh god. So there's one of the bosses I was talking about. Now what he's going to do is he's going to... No! When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours, gentlemen and ladies. We have problems. We have all kinds of problems right now. So let's take that, and we'll try and get that cave sealed off. We're going to pull all these guys back with the dinner bell, and there's no cooldown on the cannon, but what he does is he opens portals through which goblins will spawn everywhere. And what we want to do is get all of our dwarves back real fast, and once all the dwarves are back, you can see them all running back to this centralized location. We'll put them in a cannon, get in the cannon, and we will fire them down into his shamanic cave, and they shall all pick a fight with him in Diggy fashion. The base is now under attack. You can see it's got a little health bar here. Let's spawn a couple more dwarves who should run straight into combat and take care of business, maybe? Dwarves? Oh no, we're out of money. That's unfortunate. So let's draw everybody back to base to get rid of this centralized threat. And that lava's been neutralized. Let's take a look around and make sure that there's nothing that these guys could be doing better. Let's send him out to that gold vein over there, because we're running into our last little bit of gameplay. So the game's going to be over soon, so it's time 0. If we die right here, it's not really going to matter that much. We're almost out of gold anyways. Lava has been released. How very, very unfortunate. So we'll put a wall right there, and since we have a dwarf nearby, we'll take our dynamite, and we will take our dwarf. We don't want him to dig through the walls here. We just want him to suicide, kind of dwarvish jihad into that dynamite. Make sure that he takes it out. And that's pretty much the breadth of the gameplay. So let's talk about everything. The graphics, as you guys can see, are clean. They're neatly designed. It's got kind of a flash appeal to it, which I very much like. It seems almost hand-drawn, but not quite. I love the procedural generation. I like the way everything looks aesthetically. So I would give that a relatively high score. Sound-wise, you've got your standard clinks, clanks, clunks, all those things you come to expect from a video game. Sound is always a hard thing to grade, but I give it a passing grade. It's perfectly fine. The sound works for what it's for. Let's turn him around real fast. And secondly, let's talk about the gameplay. Now, the repetition, how much will you play this game, the replay value? You will play it a lot if it grabs you. This game has had me addicted the last couple days, and this is by no means the largest map that I've done. I actually haven't fast forwarded very much because we're doing a Let's Play and I wanted to show things off, but you will play this game a lot if you're into puzzlers and you're into games like Dwarf Fortress, where a lot of the game is just avoiding bad things happening, trying to preempt bad things happening. This game is very much a test of your attention span, though, and we hit 50 diggers. That's the end. You get this cool little animation, which I very much like. It's kind of like the cards going in solitaire. It's very gratifying. You get this score right here. You get this night elf stripper or whatever it is that's right here. The game has a great sense of humor. It's got a great sense of theme. It's very humorous. It's a game that I would definitely consider checking out. It will hook you as long as you view it as a puzzler. A lot of people have been trying to market this game as a kind of Dwarf Fortress clone, and it's not. This game is very much a puzzle game. It has very little in common with Dwarf Fortress, except that it has dwarves. So that all said, I would definitely recommend the gameplay for people that like puzzles, people that like anthill type sims, and people that like games in which you don't have a lot of control. You got limited control, but you're trying to do the best you can with it. That all said, my name is Splattercat. I hope you've enjoyed this indie review of Dwarfs, an oldie but a goodie. This is by no means a new release. I'll put the price down in the comments below. It goes on sale all the time on Steam. I'll put the developer's website and the Steam page down below. You should check it out, and I will see you guys next time. Take care out there, everybody.